Hey, my name is Ryan with Yushu, and today I am beyond excited to announce and show my first ever collaboration boot. Blackbird Shoemakers were kind enough to work with me on creating this boot, and in this video, I'm going to show you what it's all about. Thank you so much for watching. Please enjoy. So kind of like my standard reviews, we'll go over the sizing, the fitting, the materials, and everything in this review. But before we get into all the details, I want to talk about how this boot came about. It started with my first ever pair of Blackbird boots that I got last year. I was really impressed with the build quality for the price. You know, it had the double row stitched down and it was like under $200. And I just thought, man, this is a really good company providing a really good bang for your buck. Then I saw Nick English from Stripewise actually visit the factory, and he gave me other ideas of different combinations that you can do with Blackbird Shoemakers. And so I bought my second Blackbird boot again about a year ago. It was a Tuscanello horse rump. It was their more bulbous last. And as you can expect, I was floored with how good it was for the price. So at that point, I was kind of sold on Blackbird Shoemakers as a company. What they were doing, yes, they're made out of India, but I love the product. I love the quality that you were getting. I love when you can get something at a great price. I just have this intense desire to find an affordable version of something, and that's what the goal of this boot was. I wanted to put all the materials that you would get in a extremely expensive heritage handmade boot, but get it at a price under $400, and that's what we did. This boot is heritage through and through. It's got some of the best quality materials you can put into a boot, and it's going to be under $400. Yes, it's $395, and just as a reminder, that's $395 including everything. So Blackbird is paying the tariffs, they're paying the shipping. You just pay $395, and this is the boot that you will get. So what is this boot? Well, this is not a boot that is groundbreaking by any means. The Boondocker style N1 boot, there's a lot of different names for it, and I know people who are really into military stuff are really finicky about what you call something, but this is just something broad for the average guy. But it's a simple boot, and I wanted to take that simple concept, but try to make a few tweaks that make it a little bit special. Now, this boot has been done before. There's nothing truly groundbreaking about it. Really, the Viberg field shoe is a very similar boot to this one using the same materials, but this is something that encapsulates that feel, but at an affordable price. So what I'll do is we'll kind of turn the camera around. We'll look at this boot. We'll look at the QC of Blackbird, because this isn't Viberg. This isn't $1,000. This is $395. We'll see what that $395 gets you. And then we'll go over fit and sizing, because another thing I forgot to mention, and this is really exciting, this is on Blackbird's brand new last. It's called their US military last. And this last is really cool, and it's going to be huge for this company because it kind of bridges the gap between their dressy silhouette boots that they're kind of known for and their chunky ones. And now you have something right down the middle that will be super versatile and a last that I think a lot of boot guys will like. So we'll go over the sizing and what size you should get if you pick up a pair. And lastly, before we do that, this is a collaboration, so I do have an affiliate link. Now, if you click on that affiliate link, I get paid a little bit of money for each purchase. It's not a lot, and I put that money right back into the channel. So if this is something that you are wanting to get already, go ahead and click the link. It helps the channel out. So I appreciate every single one who has done that. I really do appreciate it. But now let's turn the camera around and take a deep dive into these boots. So first, quickly, I'm going to go over the main points of the boot. It is built on a Dr. Sole Super Grip full sole with a Super Grip half sole, and then a veg tan leather heel stack. It also has a thick veg tan leather midsole, then cork filler. Now, even though this is a stitch down boot, so normally you wouldn't see cork filling on a stitch down boot, this boot does have it because there is a small cavity that is between the thick veg tan insole and the veg tan midsole, so that you have that cork. Then the upper is made out of Horween Chrome Excel reverse. So it's just natural Horween Chrome Excel. Inside the boot, it is totally unlined. So you see that stitch there, that normally that would stitch on a liner, but it is a totally unlined boot. It's just super thick Chrome Excel leather. It comes with an unstructured toe, so you can get that cool, Boondocker military look. And then of course the natural Chrome Excel will just be a patina monster over time. Then inside you do have a glove leather liner that just sits right on top of the leather lasting board, the thick veg tan leather lasting board. and half of it is backed with a foam, just so your heel and everything is sitting on foam. And then the forefront of your boot is just the leather midsole, the cork filler, the leather insole, and then the thin sock liner. So that's the gist of the boot. Just a ton of leather, a ton of awesome ingredients, all in one boot for under $400. The tongue is a gusseted tongue, and it will come in the normal Blackbird packaging, the packaging that so many love. But these were sent to me without all the regular stuff, so I didn't do an unboxing because these were the first prototype and what they're basing the design off of. So the first thing I want to talk about is this new last. I feel like the best way to show off this last is by looking at the sole. How this last is, it's a little bit tighter in the heel and the waist. Now the waist doesn't look super tight here, and that's because it has a pretty big welt shelf on both sides, but it actually is a fairly narrow waist. Then it broadens out at the ball of the foot. It gets wide here, so it's almost like a D plus width, and then it is a more rounded toe shape. So we know with Blackbird they have a lot of nice almond shaped boots, and then they have some more like bulky boots. This last is supposed to bridge the gap between both of those styles and give you something that hopefully Blackbird will do a ton of boots on this last. And it is a little bit sleeker because of the unstructured toe, but they will be creating some boots on this last that have structured toes that are welted. You can get this welted if you really wanted. You didn't want to have it be this double row stitch down. And it's just a great bang for your buck boot. Now, if you look over the quality control, it's typical Blackbird, really good nailed heel. The stitching through the sole is nice. It's a channeled groove. We know Dr. Sole outsoles are amazing. They're super high quality. I think that's like the boot guy's preferred sole. But then it comes up to the stitching. Now, this is not Viberd, but it's pretty good. The stitching is pretty good. It will last for a long time. It's going to be a little bit more water repellent, they're telling me, because of how they went back here to the heel. And of course, you just have that thick slab of leather for the veg tan midsole. You do have a little bit of a seam here. That's how Blackbird builds their boots to get them to last right. They put a little seam in the back. And then another thing about this boot that's kind of cool, it's a cool little feature, is this stitch. So how this stitch was designed was basically you have one stitch that follows the eyelets, kind of it stays true to that. But then you have this other stitch that is a little bit more elegant that comes down and meets. And this is 4 rows of stitching to stitch the vamp to the quarters, and then 3 super tight rows that stitch the backstay. And how they did this stitch, someone commented on my Instagram, it almost looks like a roadway that goes off forever. And it's just a really cool, sleek look that makes it a little bit different from your standard service boots, from your standard military spec looking boots. It gives it a little bit more elegance and class. And Blackbird really, they kind of specialize in more elegant shapes. So it was nice to see them have fun with it and do something that kind of put it over the top. So awesome boot, very comfortable. But now let's look at the size and fitting of the boot. So if you're interested, you'll know what to do. Oh, sorry, I forgot to film me putting these on. Nothing special there. I was just so excited. Now, when I first got these, I tried on the boots, but I didn't want to like wear them and break them in until I made this video. So this is like my first time that I actually get to do that. So maybe I got a little bit too excited, but here is the boot. Here is the fit of it. And in just a moment, I will show you my camera angle so you can see what they look like from the top down. But basically how this boot is you have a really nice snug waist and heel, and then a wider ball, which is really comfortable. What I really thought about when I first tried these on was the Parker 602 last, or 602M, or whatever they're calling it. But the thing that I like more about this one is it's not so long. It's like the 602 where you have that wide ball, but then this has a little bit more of a rounded front that doesn't make the boot kind of extended like the Parker's last does, which is still a great last. I do like the look of this, where it's not like a Munson style round toe box. It's just a nice mixture. So it's a sleek looking boot. So what is the sizing? What I did is, like all my other Blackbirds, I went true to size. So true to size with these boots is what I recommend. Now, the only thing, there's a little bit of a caveat to that, and that is if you're okay with unstructured toes. So unstructured toes, in my opinion, I always say go a half size up from your normal size. For instance, if you were buying an 11 and a half Beckman normally from Red Wing, but then you went to the Beckman flat box with an unstructured toe, I would say go to a 12, just because that structure does shrink up the boot a little bit. And the case with this one is very similar. Now, I really think your best bet is just to go true to size, but you have to know that with that unstructured toe box, it does collapse a little bit when they pull it out of the last. Now, if you get this boot without the unstructured toe box, of course, it won't be any issue at all. I would say still go true to size. But if you are worried about that or you like a looser fit, I would say size up a half a size in these boots and it should be perfect. You can always put an insole if it's too big. I don't like doing that. I like trying to rock the boot how it came. So I went true to size, and that is exactly what worked for me. But let me show you my viewpoint so you can see what it looks like on feet. There's the on feet shot. It's just such a cool boot. That double row stitch down looks amazing. It is a really cool shape too. Blackbird's normal boots, they're a little bit dressy, and I think they're gorgeous like in their dressier service boots for like a business casual, for an elevated casual. But this last is really going to change the game for them because it is just like the perfect shape where it's not too bulbous, but it also has a good amount of room. It's a comfortable, you can wiggle your toes and everything feels really good. Now, there will be some time needed to break these in. You have your sole, your midsole, your cork layer, your lasting board, and that leather liner. So you're having to break through a lot there. It's not all cushy like some boots come like Thursday, but once you do break that in, they'll be absolutely gorgeous, absolutely perfect. So I'm in love with these boots. Of course, I'm biased because I was wanting to get a boot available to people. Who has $1,100 for a Byberg nowadays? I mean, that is crazy. So this, you're getting, it's not the same exact, it's not the same build quality. Of course, I'm not saying that, but you're getting a double row stitch down, a name brand sole, name brand leather, a comfortable, a nice refined last for just less than half the price. So I think it's just a great deal, a great opportunity for some. So let me know if you have any questions about this boot. I of course, will be doing break-in updates and all sorts of stuff on it so you can see how it's aging. And it's going to be my go-to right now, of course, because how much I love it. And of course, me being biased too. But thank you guys so much for watching. And I will see you on the next one.